Tibi is a personal practice development coach. His passion is helping people become healthier and happier. He is a traditionally trained engineer who's changed his life's work from building hospitals to building healthier people and communities. Having experienced the power of functional medicine on his own healing journey, his vision is to make functional medicine affordable and accessible to millions of people. To leverage his time, he's currently training doctors across North America to set up their own functional medicine practices to replicate the Living Proof Institute's model. In his spare time, he enjoys traveling, hiking, and reading. Tibi, thanks for joining me today for our webinar, and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule.
George, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, and I really look forward to chatting with you today, and thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to sit down with me.
Oh, thank you. Tibi, I've got a lot of questions that I'd like to cover, so let's get right into it then, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not big on small talk. I like really getting into the meat of things and really finding out what drives people, what makes people passionate, and that's kind of what I do, and that's what drives me. So that sounds perfect.
Fantastic. I'm the same way too, and I'm sure our listeners want to find out about your extensive background in the health industry and want to learn more about you. So just wonder if you can give me some background on yourself. What did you do prior to being involved with the Living Proof Institute, and how did you get involved with them?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question, and that's part of the reason why I get up every day is because I'm really passionate about what I'm currently doing, and it just so happened that I ended up in the health and wellness industry. So prior to joining the Living Proof Institute, I was working as an engineer. So I was building hospitals, and I was making a big impact in my community, but after getting back from Africa, one of my passions is travel. So after getting back from Africa a few years ago, I started getting a lot of digestive issues. And I went to my family physician who referred me to specialists. And I went to see a gastroenterologist and an endocrinologist, and everything came back fine. And they didn't really find anything wrong with me. So they weren't really able to help. And I lost about 35 pounds in 3 months, so it was a rapid weight loss, and I wasn't heavy to begin with. So most people might be happy about losing 35 pounds, but I was already skinny. So yeah, I was essentially not absorbing my food, and I didn't really know much about health and wellness at that time, and I didn't realize how broken our healthcare system is until I actually went through the healthcare system myself. And my family physician then prescribed antidepressants to treat irritable bowel syndrome. And as an engineer, that made no sense to me. Like how, like this pill is never going to tell me why I have IBS in the first place, and it's not going to really get to a root cause as to why I have all these digestive issues. So a perfect example I like to give is, if you were to take a healthy person and give them antidepressants or any kind of prescription pill, within a few weeks, they'd likely develop side effects, negative side effects. So if you're giving a healthy person a pill and it's not making them healthier, how is giving somebody a pill that's unhealthy going to make them healthy again? So
good point, yeah.
That logic didn't make sense to me. So that's when I started digging a little bit deeper, and I discovered there's a whole world of alternative medicine, and I tried naturopathic medicine, which I noticed some improvements in, and I still found that it still didn't get to a root cause. So while it really looks at the body from a more natural perspective, and it recognizes that the body can heal, it still didn't really get to a root cause, and still kind of just masked the symptoms. But by doing functional medicine testing at the Living Proof Institute, I was really able to get to the root cause of my health issues. And there's a whole bunch of things. So I had a lot of GI infections, so bacterial infection, a parasitic infection. I had hormonal imbalances. So my cortisol levels were 4 times higher than the highest limit on that lab test. And this really, functional testing really picks up different data points that conventional testing doesn't do. So you're able really to take a deeper look at your biochemistry. And as an engineer, I realized how interconnected all these different systems in our bodies are, and how everything depends on one another. And Western medicine's kind of segmented the body in different pieces, and
I was about to say that, yeah.
body's all connected. So yeah, after going through this whole journey myself, I just realized that I wanted to devote my whole life's purpose to really helping people heal. And I know over 50% of people have digestive issues. A lot of people just don't talk about them, but everyone has some kind of a health issue, and digestive issues are quite common, especially for people who travel extensively. So yeah, that was kind of my how I got involved with the Living Proof Institute, and I decided that I want to focus my time on building healthier people instead of building hospitals, so that way people don't have to end up getting sick and they don't have to end up in those hospitals. So it's more of a preventative approach to health, and really focusing on addressing issues before they even become an issue. So
exactly.
if there's somebody listening here who doesn't have any health issues or any symptoms, now's the best time to actually get started. Take action before you need to take action. So just be preventative about your health.
Well, and Tibi, you brought up some very interesting points. The first one being that a lot of the tests from your traditional doctor came back normal. And in my experience, and I'm far from being an expert on this, but just talking to friends and family, they've experienced similar things to you. An example I use, like if I'm in a dark room and I'm looking for a piece of plastic, a metal detector is not going to help me out. So a lot of times it's not the right test for you. And even if it comes back normal for what they're looking for, well, normal based on what though? Are we talking normal for optimally healthy people, or normal for the average person that's out there that may not be at the level that they should be at, but we could take it for granted, like, well, if a person is operating at 50% capacity, maybe that's the norm that they base their figures on, rather than ideal health.
No, that's a great point, and that's what we tell our patients as well, is that that population that's studied and those ranges that they come with aren't necessarily optimal ranges. And by the time something shows up in the blood, it's typically very late in the disease process. So we want to find out what's actually driving that blood marker, for example, to be out of range.
That's right. Yeah, whether too high or too low.
Yeah, exactly. And then oftentimes it's still in range, and people are still having severe health symptoms. So it's really about asking the right questions and testing for the right things.
Exactly. Well, and I like what you're saying about the testing. You know, I had the pleasure of doing a free 15-minute consultation with you several months ago, and the intake form that you guys use at the Living Proof Institute, it's phenomenal. We're talking 40 plus pages of things that a traditional GP either doesn't have the time to cover when they see you, or they don't even know where to start a lot of the time. It seems like, and I'm generalizing here, but sometimes it's more of an assembly line. They just try to get you in and out of the office in a hurry, rather than digging deep and finding out, okay, what is the underlying thing? How far along are you in the process? How is it interconnected, say, between stress in your life, hormonal imbalances, vitamin mineral deficiencies, gut health, you name it. So it's anybody that's actually listening to this, I definitely recommend that they talk to either yourself or one of your colleagues, and certainly follow through on the consultations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was what I experienced going as a patient myself. So like everybody at the Living Proof Institute actually started as a patient, and all of our physicians have an incredible health journey, and some have a similar story to mine. Some have lost over 70 pounds. Everyone's had an incredible journey, and they just kind of ended up in this space. So we all have very similar core values, and we all have a story, and we really care, and we're really passionate about helping other people. So that's kind of how we work. And then the intake form is quite comprehensive, so 47 pages, because it really, what we say is that any kind of lab result, whether it's regular blood work or functional medicine testing, the result of the lab is usually a result of something that you're doing. So either how you're thinking, how you're eating, how you're moving, what your internal dialogue is, what your mental emotional state is like, how your relationships are. All these different things are are driving that result on a paper. So instead of focusing on the result, it's more important to focus on what's driving that result, because that way we can control what the final answer is. And part of what I wrote about in the chapter is how important education and empowerment is to the patient, and really putting the patient in a position to be in control of their health. So
Yes.
we tell every patient when they come into the clinic that we're not going to fix them, that they're going to fix themselves. Ultimately, a lot of people are looking to essentially hire somebody else to take care of their health, but it's really about taking ownership of your health, because you're ultimately in control, and you truly want to have to get healthy, and you want to follow through on all these dietary lifestyle changes, and really realize that you're in control of what those results on the labs mean. And the doctor there isn't going to fix you. The doctor is just going to coach you and guide you. And because we have a lot of clinical experience working with hundreds of patients, we know exactly what these processes are and what's really driving these symptoms. So we really get to the root cause and educate the patient and empower them to take action. That way they can become independent of our clinic, and they can share this with their friends and family, and educate their children. And it's a huge problem we have in North America and globally. So I'm very optimistic that functional medicine is really going to reach millions of people, and that's what we're working on doing right now, is really scaling the message and impacting as many lives as possible.